Welcome back to Out of Touch. John, Dustin, and Mitchell here with you on this February 28th. And it is not the last day of February. It is, in fact, a leap year if you're the kind of person who keeps up with that stuff. But we're here. I don't really know what the point of leap year is. I know it has something to do with the balance of the calendar and something like that. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about fun stuff. And it's getting a little, I don't know what the proper wording is for it out there, guys. But at the time of this recording, I guess as long as if this show gets published, then that means we all survived. But it's been a big talking point in the Kentucky and maybe more so the Indiana area than anything today of the storms that are coming through or maybe have already come through. And again, like I said earlier, if you're already listening to this, then it already happened. But storms in February, not something you typically, get, especially severe tornado-y, as Dustin would say on Twitter, tornado-y type weather. You don't usually get this kind of stuff this time of year. It's not impossible. It's happened before. I remember in high school, there was a 70-degree day in January where we had to sleep in the basement, and it was probably the first time we ever got weather that was that warm in January, but it's weird. I don't like when we don't get winter weather or non-winter weather in the winter season. So that's a long-winded way in welcoming you into this week's episode of Out of Touch. Dustin,
I was waiting for you to stop because I was keeping my eye on the timer to see if that was going to be the longest intro without Mitchell or I talking in the history of the show.
Like one thing I've learned to do, and it's not, I don't even know if I mean to do this, but when you're hosting a show, and it's not necessarily every show, sometimes you monologue, and sometimes the monologue goes longer than you want it to. I don't usually have a plan for how long it's going to go. I just know that I'm going to start talking. I'm going to try to remember to introduce Dustin and Mitchell because sometimes I forget to do that, apparently. And then eventually I'm going to hit the brakes and bring in my pals. And, that's what I've done. And now we're 2.5 minutes in. Dustin did interrupt me, so I guess it wasn't the full 2.5 minutes, but we're here.
Do you know what would be funny is if we just did one podcast of 40 minutes of you just teasing, bringing us in and actually talking to us, but you just talked the entire 40 minutes.
I'll tell you what. So on the afternoon show that I work on, I love the guy that I work with, Nick Coffey, but he is a mastermind at monologuing. He's just he's done a show by himself for so long, and he and I go back and forth on certain things, but he sets up a point longer than anybody else I've ever known, and maybe that's rubbed off on me just because I've heard it so much every single day of working with them. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but we're here. It's a Wednesday. It's a little stormy, but we're here to have a good time. Dustin, I knew we were going to talk about this the moment I saw your tweet today saying, I think it's going to get a little bit tornado-y today or something. I've never heard it described that way, but it was a very Dustin Shooty way or a very Dustin Shooty thing to say, and I really appreciated it.
Well, I'm glad that you appreciated it. I feel like, look, we're 3.5 minutes in. Mitchell hasn't said a single word. How are you doing, Mitchell?
I'm good. What I'll tell you guys is I think I have terrible Wi-Fi. You guys are jumping.
You're not lagging if you're worried about that.
That's good. I'm in a hotel again. Surprise. And usually you guys are crystal clear. They've got the 4G, 5G, 10G speed, whatever it is in these places. And this Marriott, for whatever reason, doesn't have that. So if I go in and out a little bit, just tell me and I'll shut up.
I bet they have a 24-hour gym, though.
They do have a 24-hour gym. That's
nice.
a major attraction. And free breakfast.
That's the bigger attraction.
Biggest attraction of all.
Do you know, so I'm now, not to big time anybody here, but to also at the same time, very much big time everybody. I'm at the Combine this week, the NFL Scouting Combine.
Do you feel like Mr. Big Shot?
I do feel like Mr. Big Shot, yeah. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is at the Indiana Convention Center, where they're doing a lot of the interviews, they have a very nice media workroom. They have muffins. They have bagels. They have pastries and coffee. I can't tell you how many people I heard complain about like the lack of food things that were made available. And I'm like, they don't have to give us anything. Why do we got to complain about everything? Muffins are delicious. Coffee is fantastic.
And as Mitchell, there he is. He's back. Looked like he was about ready to do what he said he might do, which was fall out of the podcast.
I'm here. I'm back. Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
I was just going to say,
fine.
pampered. Did you get invited to the combine?
I did not get invited to the combine. I was credentialed media for the combine.
But they invited you. They allowed you to come?
They approved my entry into the stadium and convention center.
He's not running 40s, if that's what you might have thought that was the original question.
Yeah. I'm still waiting on my invite. That's why I was curious what that was like. I never got any. I was in the city and nothing.
You were just standing outside Lucas Oil Stadium waiting for them to let
with
you
my
in.
face pressed against the glass as they
in the rain.
Yeah. Pretty sure
like
somebody was playing
sad little
somber
man.
music. Yeah.
And yet, but what makes that more impressive is that you still signed an NFL contract.
Yeah, but it's way funnier to talk about me just not going to the combine.
I didn't even get invited.
No, they didn't even consider me. They didn't send it to the wrong address. No, it never was for me, which I appreciate. Probably a good thing.
Did you do a pro day though?
Yeah. I would have impressed on the 5-10-5, the pro agility drill. 40, that would not have been shown on TV. Broad jump, I probably would have been laughed out of the building. Vertical, similar scenario. I would have caught every ball probably. That would have been good.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't it doesn't have the same pop when someone that looks like me is running the go down the sideline. You track the ball and catch it versus somebody that's running the 4-4 and is running like a gazelle. Yeah, it just doesn't have the same pop. So probably good for me that it was just in my friendly confines of Mellon Camp in the dirty, nasty turf. If anyone's ever been in there, probably
I have not.
Ugh. You probably will this fall though with your new job.
There's
maybe
a
in
chance,
the spring too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
By the way, we might have talked about this off the air, but we are absolutely going to go up, all three of us, for the Indiana FIU home opener. Are we not?
I'm going to be at the spring game if you guys want to come.
We may do that.
What day is the spring game? The 18th?
Sometime in April. I think it's earlier than that.
It's on a Thursday. I know that much.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll see.
We might be able to do that. We might be able to.
I've never been to a spring game before. I know it's just a glorified scrimmage, and it's sometimes it's not even that.
Yeah, there's varying ideas of what the spring game should be. Some people play it like a real game. A couple years that we had them, we like picked teams, and the winners got to eat a steak dinner, and the losers had to eat corn dogs. And nice. I kind of like that. It was fun. I
like that too.
Like the team captains pick the teams, and you don't do it in front of the team because somebody would have to be the last pick, and that's tough. And thank God it wasn't me. I'm sure it was, but I was behind closed doors. So going out competing, it's not offense versus defense, which is unique because that's all you do all spring and all fall is just offense versus defense, us against them. So being able to interact, I like that a lot better. I don't know how IU's going to do it this year. I'm just happy they bring it back. I think the spring game is a valuable tool for development, learning how to compete. Well, we don't have to talk football, but
not only that, well, we can though.
But
not only that, but like when you're Indiana or like Illinois, Purdue, Northwestern, Rutgers, I like that they do these games on like a weeknight or a different day of the week than everybody else. Like nobody's going to watch the Indiana spring game if it's the same time as Ohio State or Penn State or Oregon. Right. So when there's nothing else on during the week, hey, let's tune into Indiana. Let's get some exposure. Like I think Illinois did that a few years ago. Indiana's done it a few times on a weeknight. Like I think that's a really smart marketing promotion.
My favorite spring game memory. I think I was maybe my third year. I think it was my third year because I know I wasn't playing yet, but I was comfortable enough to, like I knew all the plays. I wasn't nervous. I just went out there and played, but also didn't have the stress of being a starter. And we did it on Friday before like the week of Little 500. So the week had been going on we were on the Friday, and they brought out Flosstradamus. He was a big DJ, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in the DJ scene. But, I mean, the spring game. It's very family-friendly. After the game, families come down. They get autographs. We're giving out gloves, towels. So there are thousands of kids. That's an exaggeration. Hundreds of kids on the field. And they set up this big stage in the end zone. This would have been the south end zone. So they have this is before it was finished, wide open. And they build this stage in 5 seconds. I don't know how they built it so quickly. There's still kids everywhere, families all over. We're signing autographs. It's dark. They turn these lights on, and this DJ comes out and starts dropping some of the hardest F-bombs, cursing up an absolute storm. There's kids everywhere. There's college kids that have been hammered for a week straight, crowding this stage. There's 8-year-olds getting pushed over. We did not do it that way in the future, but one of the funniest visuals, if you can put yourself in that position, seeing little kids just get bodied by drunk college kids to listen to some guy curse a whole bunch and play music that is really loud. Very funny scene that I was watching.
Yeah, I've never heard of this Flosstradamus, but I did try to look him up and see if I could find out anything that may.
Is that what his name was? It was something like that.
So was it just one person? Because it shows that it used to be a duo that eventually became just a single DJ.
I don't even know what it was. I was laughing so hard there were tears in my eyes from the "What's up, MFers" that happened 15 times in the first 10 seconds of his set. So I don't know if it was 2 people. It could have been 10 people up there. I have no idea, but it was just a very, very funny scene.
Well, shout out to Flosstradamus. I love that.
Yeah, I don't know if he's even still making music. I don't know.
It says he's still active, but I mean, those DJs, I feel like most of their audience or their target demo is people over in Europe. I feel like that's the area that really consumes a lot of the EDM. And not that people don't around here. It's just not as big of a deal, I feel like.
It's definitely big in Austria. I can confirm that. Anytime you go to a club in Vienna, that's all it is. The boom, boom, boom right in your brain. Pretty sure they just inject it into your head.
You just walk around hearing that constantly. There's not even any music. You just boom, 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 boom.
Yes, your head's just banging on the subway to work. Yes. You didn't even know what happened. You didn't even go to the club. You're just head banging anyways. Yeah. Welcome to my 9 months in Austria or whatever it was, 8 months.
I love that.
Yeah.
502-830-9195. That is the hotline number if you want to leave us a message. We do have one pseudo message that we're going to play. We're just going to save it for the end of the show.
Oh,
I know what this is? You do know what this
is.
Good, one of our frequent listeners, or regular listeners, I should say, Indie Hater 1 sent us a little surprise that we're going to play for you guys towards the end of the show. So stick around for that. Hopefully it'll give you a laugh. Also, so I finally went on my Valentine's date, if you will, with my wife. We had to
wait a second. Hold on.
Go ahead. Go and ask your question. I know what you're going to ask, but go ahead and ask it.
I'm not going to ask a question. I have a statement. You can't hate Valentine's. You can't hate Valentine's Day and then go on a Valentine's date
2 weeks afterwards.
And I agree with you. But to me, it's not important, but to my wife, it is important. So it is something that I do set aside time to do, even if it's not the day of or the week of. And it was supposed to be the week of, if not for some ice that came in or some I can't remember what type of weather it was specifically, but it was bad weather the night we were supposed to go. We postponed it for a week, and we went to this place last week called Mussel and Burger. And really, really good place. It's kind of an odd combination, burgers and mussels. I had never tried mussels before, and I didn't really think that I was going to, at this place specifically, just because in my mind they were slimy, they were kind of gross looking. I kind of pictured them more so as oysters rather than them being mussels. But after... How do I say this? So as I tried the mussels, my wife was so surprised that I partook in eating them, that she was taking photos of me eating them, and she sent them to my parents to be like, "Oh my God, look, your son is eating these mussels." And I was like, why are you treating me like this, like I'm this 12-year-old, or more like this 4-year-old who just sat on the toilet for the first time? Like, this is, yeah, for those who don't know, and maybe many of you probably don't know, I'm a fairly picky eater. I'm not as picky as I was when I was a child, but mussels are something that's never been on my regular palate, obviously. And I guess eating something like that was a surprise to them. But I don't know. Have you guys ever had mussels before?
I don't think so.
No, I eat. If you think you eat picky, no, you have no idea. Like that, they would put those in front of me. I would throw them back. I don't even know what they look like. I don't care. I just no. I lived.
I'm
in
not going to
Charleston.
pull it up. So a mussel, Dustin. First of all, have you had mussels before?
I don't believe so. Now, I've had different seafood before, but I don't think I've had mussels. I have had escargot, which is snail.
It seems pretty similar. I've never had escargot, but mussels, you open up the shell and it's literally, I mean, it doesn't necessarily look the most appetizing. It smells really good. I think it looks like, Mitchell, you're looking it up right now. But you just pull the meat out of it essentially and eat it. You don't eat the shell, obviously. But I don't know. I honestly, the reason I told that story, I was expecting you all to kind of laugh at me for being a picky eater, but it seems like we're all in the same boat.
Yeah, no chance I would. Did you look it up, Dustin?
No, I haven't looked it up.
I mean, literally zero chance. If someone at the table ordered that, I would throw them back. That will never be on my
I'm genuinely surprised. I really thought that I was going to be on an island here.
I'm not a picky eater, but I just haven't. I would try it, but I don't know that I would like it, and I know I haven't. Well, I shouldn't say I know. I don't think I've had them.
I don't like the slimy. Like, they're slimy. Why are they slimy? Why can't you cook
And they're so slimy is like oysters. I thought they were oysters in my head before I ate them. Oysters really are slimy, and you kind of slurp them up as you eat them.
I can't do oysters because of the texture.
Have you ever had an oyster shot with vodka?
No. I've never done that. Have you?
So I went for the first time to Charleston like 6 years ago. That was a horribly formulated sentence, by the way. I went for the first time to Charleston. That is just all backwards. That's a bad sentence, but
it's okay.
I was with like my best friend and his sister. They had lived there forever, and she loves these things. And I'm from Indiana, so oysters aren't typically on the menu. She's like, we should have an oyster shot. Like, how bad could it be? It'll just kill the taste. So basically, it's just a shot of vodka, and they put an oyster in the bottom.
Man.
Took the shot and threw the shot up. Like, came back. Couldn't get it down. It was so slimy. It came back up. It wasn't like throw up. It came out the same as it came in. Like, vodka and oyster.
Body just didn't want it.
Yeah, we're not having that. Not having that. So I guess if it's not as slimy, and it was all because of the slime. So if it's not as slimy, maybe I wouldn't throw them back. I still wouldn't eat them. But the oyster slime, if it's anything like that, no, absolutely not. They need to be sent into the sun.
In my opinion, if you can eat oysters and you enjoy them, you probably can eat any kind of seafood, because oysters is probably my wall, I guess, if you will. Anything that's in that same category or texture as Dustin mentioned, like, that's a no-go for me. I'm a big texture guy when it comes to food. Anything that's like, obviously everyone loves crispy stuff. Like, that's pretty much a no-brainer. But when you get into some of the soft, sometimes chewy or gummy foods, that's more of a no for me.
Yeah. But that's nasty.
He's like, just stop talking about it.
Have you ever do you guys eat raw fish? Like, will you eat sushi?
Like sushi?
Raw? Yeah.
Never had sushi.
Yeah, I had sushi once. We had some work event, and they brought in tuna, and it was apparently like this fancy tuna. He's a big fancy chef, came to the house, whatever, and he's slicing up this tuna, and I'm waiting for him to just cook it because, it's just a raw fish. I'm not going to eat this. And then people just started picking it up and eating it. And I've never seen anything like this before. I think I was 24 or something and lived in Indiana. So this is not something that I do. But they start eating it. They tell me to eat it. Same thing happened with the oyster vodka shot. It went down right back out. Like, just, I don't understand how that kind of texture, the fishy taste. I'm out. And the ocean's so scary. You don't know what that thing was eating. You don't know what it was chasing. Like, at least if it's on land, like they're probably just eating grass. If you're eating some kind of like cow or something, there's just grass, maybe some sticks, maybe a little bit of dirt, but you don't know what's in the ocean. That thing could literally eat anything. And if you don't cook it, it just has all the stuff that it ate still in there. And you don't eat that part, but it's like touching it. You know what I'm saying?
I love catfish, but I'm fully aware that they are bottom feeders.
That's a garbage can. That is a bottom feeder. They call low, like, people to stay away from bottom feeders, and you just eat them.
Here's the thing: if they're prepared right, they're delicious.
How do you eat them?
But
Fried,
I've had some bad catfish where you can kind of taste that they're bottom feeders, if you know what I mean. I mean, that's the worst. But a catfish prepared right is good.
You eating them out of Lake Monroe?
Or Lake Shafer.
Yeah, he's eating them out of the White River. Tasty.
Oh man.
They are they're cleaning out the canal, and it's not the White River or anything, but I live near Broad Ripple, and there's a canal that runs through there. And I don't know what they're doing, but all the water's drained, and they've got a bunch of trucks that are like scraping bottom, and there's just no mud. It is all sludge and nasty and gross. And that's what you're drinking. So if anybody has water, that's what you're drinking, which is pretty exciting. Yeah, I drink it too. I'm going to go drink out of this faucet, and I'm near Flint, Michigan. You heard all this stuff about that. Yeah. So I'm not somebody that's above it, but
this is actually Mitchell's last podcast.
Yeah, the world is a nasty place, I think. This is a good opener. It's a nasty, gross place, and we just have to put up with it. And maybe this feels like a part 2 almost
to the public camping and the dumpster diving from last week.
I think the dumpster divers would love the water that comes out of that canal. They love that. That'd be a delicacy for them.
Is that the Pat McAfee Canal? It is, isn't it?
No, that one's downtown. It may be the same one, but this is much more north.
But it's a different area. I don't know
if it's all. I'm sure it's all connected, but I don't know if it's like a straight line. Because that one was downtown.
Was it? Okay.
I think so.
I thought he was out near Broad Ripple, but I could be wrong.
I hope it is. I like that canal way better if it was the one he jumped in. I think he's awesome. No free ads, but he does great stuff. And he's
is the Wabash River as nasty as everybody says it is?
Where is the Wabash River?
It's in West Lafayette.
It's
basically
all
borders
over.
Purdue.
Yeah. It's all the agriculture. Think about all the chemicals they're pumping in there, dude.
Dustin, feel free to stand up for the Wabash River if you cherish it so much.
I mean, I'm not going to stand up for it. I don't.
You'll die on this throne, okay?
I will die on it. I mean, I don't think the Wabash River's breaking any records for cleanliest river in America, but I can't imagine it's the dirty. Like, isn't the Los Angeles River just like, it's just cement?
Really?
I'm pretty sure it's just like water that runs like on a cement path.
Yeah, but think about all the dirty. It used to be cement, probably. All the dirt coming in there.
Could be.
My wife can hear me making statements, and she texted me, yes, the river is nasty. I saw it when we were up there. She was up in West Lafayette probably about a year ago, so shout out to the wife.
But you dream about the moonlight on the Wabash.
It's hard to believe that the state song of Indiana is about the Wabash.
Yeah. I mean, I guess are there any other rivers that have 2 syllables? Because it fits the song way better. When I dream about the moonlight on the
Look at Dustin trying to say
white.
Ohio.
I did try to say Ohio. Oh, hi. Did you guys have to do that in
I used to just clap it out. Ohio.
elementary?
That's 3 syllables.
Oh, hi. See, we did the jaw thing where Ohio. So it's 4 letters but 3 syllables.
That's correct.
That's got to be one of the only words, and this is the dumbest podcast that we've ever recorded. This is, if any listener that was on the fence, like, just pause it. Give us till next week.
They jumped into the Wabash River after listening to this.
Nobody's called to tell us that we need to stop doing this yet. Remember, that was one of my calls to action.
No. I think our other ones have at least been semi-informed. This has been the dumbest. Like, think about what we're saying. None of us know anything about what we're talking about, and we're just making stupid jokes. I love it. This is the way we need to have at least one of these every couple months.
I agree. Now, hold on. Here's what I'm going to say, though. I grew up near the Wabash River, not because I lived in Lafayette, but because I lived in Logansport. So that was, I don't want to say it was a point of pride, but I grew up around the Wabash River. I'm trying to figure out where it runs.
Where is the Hickory Gym? Is that Logansport?
No, that's near us, Mitchell. I'm getting sidetracked so much tonight.
It starts with an L, though.
It's in Knightstown, which is actually starts with a K, not an L.
It's right next to it in the alphabet. It makes sense if you don't think about it.
That's true. To Brownsburg. Hold on, because I think
this
it's only like
such good radio right here.
I think it's only like a 45-minute drive. The point being is that we should go. And will they allow us to shoot baskets there? I don't know, but we should try.
Wait, I thought you were looking up where the river went. And now all of a sudden you're on Knightstown?
That's what I'm saying. What are we? We're really on the feeling now.
Then you mentioned the Hickory Gym, and then I got distracted. All right.
I'm sure we could find out a way to get in there.
Well, it's open. It's like a museum. You can go in there, but I don't know if they let you shoot baskets, which is what I want to do.
While we're talking about the geography of Indiana and places of interest, Dustin, I saw you were in Terre Haute to see an Indiana State basketball game, but that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the fact that the federal prison where they, death row, is being in Terre Haute, being kind of one of the most random things in the entire world. Is that unsettling at all to be in that town knowing that the death row inmates are basically, next door?
It's unsettling just to be in Terre Haute for the most part. Have you ever been there?
I've never been there. I've always
alienating more listeners.
Here's what I'll say.
How are we alienating? We're talking about death row. Who doesn't want to hear about death row?
What Dustin was about to say was about to be Terre Haute sucks.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
Actually, here's what I'm going to say. Terre Haute gets a bad rap. No doubt about it. It's actually a good. We had a lot of fun. Indiana State, very cool. Holman Center, it is like a miniature.
It did look really nice.
Arena. It's really nice, state of the art. We went to the Terre Haute Brewing Company. Some of the best beer I've ever had. Some of the best food in Indiana I've had. Fantastic. So, if you're on the fence, go to Terre Haute, try it out. It's just like any other town.
One of my favorite nights I've ever had was with one of my buddies when he was working in Terre Haute.
Mm-hmm.
And we went out one night on a Saturday night, just me and him when we were young and dumb. It's one of the most fun nights I've ever had.
See?
I mean, it was, I can't even remember. It was like the Rusty Bull or something.
Sure.
The Rusty
Bull.
I don't know what it was called, but it was something like that. It was in the middle of nowhere. One of the nastiest bars I've ever been in. And we stayed there till 5 a.m., I think.
Well, obviously.
It was so fun for no reason. We weren't talking.
So we almost booked a hotel in Terre Haute because I believe the eclipse in April is going to go, like the path of totality is going to be coming through Terre Haute, Indiana.
Now,
obviously, the previous solar eclipse came through, I guess it was near 7 years ago. This is the second iteration of it.
So they are doing first of all, the whole state is like all in on this eclipse. I don't care. Like whatever.
I saw it the first time. It went through Bowling Green, Kentucky when I was there for college. So it would be cool to see it again, but I've already seen it once.
But when we went to the Indiana State basketball game, they were handing out coupons, $1 off at Culver's, which is a steal, obviously. But these cards are for the eclipse. And if you are listening on like Apple Podcast or Spotify, you can't see this, but what it says is Terre Haute 2024, a total eclipse of the Haute instead of the heart.
I was gonna say, what are they trying to say? But Haute instead of heart. But I guess
Is that what the dollar thing off was? What is that? They're just handing out cards that say that, like just get you hyped up.
Enjoy a free Eclipse mini concrete mixer.
What?
So they're really going all in
mixer.
with the Eclipse branding right now in Terre Haute.
Yeah,
They're selling concrete mixers.
they are giving them away if you went to the game.
They're giving away a concrete mixer to everyone that went at the game.
Yeah.
How many
And
people
took
do
a
you
picture
know?
with the Culver's mascot too.
I
Didn't
did. Scoopy? Yeah.
Scoopy.
That's his name. Scoopy.
Dog. I thought you were talking about real concrete mixers.
Oh, like the cement.
Like to lay a sidewalk or something. I'm like,
That's
this
almost
is
as
the
bad as
weirdest
when
branding.
John thought somebody got paid to sit on a toilet.
oh my gosh. I was so far off what you were saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
just like
that
a
happens to the
blizzard.
best of us.
See?
Got you. Okay, that makes way more sense. But you understand why I was so confused. Like that is
I kind of
weirder.
was thinking that your mind was in that direction, but you hadn't given me full evidence, so I didn't say anything yet.
Like, wait, what? The
I thought you were
concrete
just
mixer-
surprised, like, damn, they're giving away that many mixers.
I was
Better be
thinking,
busy.
like, how many people need to fix their sidewalk?
I
I was
did.
shocked.
I did. Here's the other thing. One last thing I'll say about Terre Haute, John's question, because we've now gotten 4 geography questions. By the way, the Wabash River, 503 miles, and it looks like it starts just south of Fort Wayne and runs all the way down like west of Evansville. So there you go. There's your little Indiana geography.
How does
lesson.
a river start? Does it come from a lake, or it just like spawns up out of the ground, or
I am
a
not
lot of
smart
rain
enough
one
to
day?
answer that.
Yeah, it just got really rainy, and then a whole river formed? How
What
do you
other
think
parts
that
of the
formed?
state can we talk about? We haven't talked about Muncie yet. I'm actually kidding. We're not going to keep talking about the state. We kind of kept going
Well,
down those directions.
I just wanted to say that I got a $35 quarter zip with the Indiana State logo on it. So, kids, if you're thinking about making a college decision, think about some place that has good merch at cheap cost, because I can't get that at
I was going to
Purdue,
say
Indiana, Notre Dame for under $70.
more, depending on what it is. If you go to the
Right.
IU store, it's 130.
Right.
Be a fan of the Fighting Trees.
Correct.
I tell you, I
Sycamores.
hate that they are FCS for football, or else it would be easier to make them a secondary team. But there's not worth going.
We
all
almost
in on.
lost to them one year.
I thought we did lose to them one year, and by we I mean Indiana.
No,
No,
my
Indiana,
first year-
and that I believe in Archie Miller's inaugural season with Indiana, he lost to Indiana State in the first game.
IPFW, close.
No, that was Tom Crean.
I don't think he
Tom
lost.
Crean lost
I
to
don't think they ever
IPFW.
lost to Indiana State.
I could
Wasn't
be
maybe they
wrong,
did.
but either way,
Maybe they did. I know in football, my first game ever.
the 73-pointer, right?
Oh no. So it would have been the second year we played them, because they had them and Southern Illinois had like 2-point conversions at the end of the game to either tie it or win it. And we scored 60 points in each game. And they still had a chance to win.
Just amazing.
It's unbelievable.
We love defense.
We got to be the only team in college football history, and we're going to not talk about football anymore, but to score 50 points at Michigan and still be down 2 touchdowns. I wonder how many teams have that stat. At any of, let's just say, the top 20 winningest programs in college football history, to go to their place, score 50, and lose by 14 or more. I bet
I'm going to
that
ask
list
you
is
actually,
small.
now that we're going down the football rabbit hole, this is the one question I have. As someone who played on a team that it was literally just run and gun, each team was scoring on each other. What was it about Indiana's defense that they just couldn't get a stop? Was there really just that big of a talent discrepancy from the offense, or did they just not give a crap?
I don't think it was either of those. I think there's a lot of give and take in football. Like, we would score 80-yard touchdowns in 3 seconds, and they just were on the field for 14 plays. I think you get gassed.
Yeah.
And depending on the offense, if you're having to stop the run against a big physical Big Ten team and they're just banging on you all the time, Pause. But they're just if they're just blocking you for most of the game, yeah, you're probably going to get pretty tired. And typically, we were a lot smaller on the defensive line than the offensive lines that we were playing. We had good players. It just weight matters. So I think that there was a lot of things. We probably could have slowed it down, but we needed to score as fast as possible in hopes that they would throw it to us so we could score again. That was our only. We were just trying to score 1 million points, which we did, and we still didn't win every game.
Mitchell, how's the house buying going?
It's complete. I am a homeowner.
You're a homeowner. You've got a mortgage.
Yeah, I have a mortgage. I've had it since Friday, and now my house is going to get blown away by a tornado 4 days later. So I'm pretty excited about that.
You are in Indianapolis?
Yeah,
or the suburb of Indianapolis?
Yeah, we're right near Broderpool. So I drive by that nasty canal all the time.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, Laura at home by herself. I'm going to air her out a little bit right now. Scared of the basement. It's a creepy basement. Old school basement. It was built in like 1936. So not the friendliest of confines. But she may have to tough it out and go down there if Twister comes.
Hey, but who's got Frank? Who's got the pup?
Frank better get taken care of by Laura. Is she better? Laura, when you're listening to this on Wednesday, if you're listening and you didn't get blown away by a tornado, you better have taken Frank with you. You better.
She leaves Frank upstairs. Frank's just calling on the basement door to come down.
That would be such a no, stay up there. Guard the house. No, she would never do that. Frank would be the first one down there. I don't know I think some dogs are actually aggressive, but in my experience, most dogs are literally all bark and no bite. Frank will, like, if the mailman comes by or some people walking on our street, he barks, the hair on his neck raises like he's the most vicious predator to ever walk the earth. And then someone comes in the house and he wakes up from his nap. Like, he doesn't protect anyone ever. He does nothing. So I think dogs get this rap as like protector of the house. I think they've gotten soft. That's what I think. That's my take of the week. Dogs are soft. The humans have just molded them into just the most lovable, best creatures on the planet, and they've lost their edge.
I saw this meme not the other day, but I always think about it that way. I think about it probably at least a couple times every few weeks or something like that. But it's a meme where on one side it's this vicious dog, and it says dogs back in their heyday, and they're like ripping off they're out in the wild tearing something apart. And then the second picture is a dog, and it's like when you change their dog's food, and it's like, now my poo-poo's all runny or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Exact.
And he's got a coat and a hat on and little boots. Yeah, that's the difference. Dogs were bred from malicious hunters into the dog that lays on his back with his jacket on and requires a blanket and a bed.
So do you put clothes, and Dustin, you can answer this too, do you put clothes on your dog?
Absolutely not. That was one of my main stipulations. Laura's childhood dog was a little beagle, blacktop, shout out, and he used to wear a little vest with a hood. No, and that would never happen. That will never happen, ever, to Franklin. I don't think he would like it anyways. She did buy him a Halloween costume. I was not there for her attempt to put it on, but from what it sounds like, it did not go very well. So Frank's at least got a little fight left in him, which I can appreciate.
Am I supposed
Dustin
to answer
Biscuit?
this?
Yeah. You don't do you? Your dog's a blue collar dog.
Your dog's tough.
Your
dog doesn't fit the mold I was talking about. I bet
he's wearing a sweater.
He has a sweater. So Mitchell is shook right now.
I'm logging off.
Here's what happened. So I ordered like a dog. I don't remember, like a dog toy or like, like those. Have you guys ever subscribed to like bark boxes or something? Where it's like
Is that the things where if your dog barks, it like barks back at them?
No, it's literally just like this. Every 3 months you get like a bag of goodies where it's like a thing of treats and 2 or 3 toys. And so that way you don't have to go to the pet store and buy a new toy every other week. Well, anyway, I got one of those, and then they accidentally sent a sweater that I thought was part of this bark box thing. And so I sent a thank you, like, oh, thanks for this free sweater. And it wasn't supposed to go to me. It was misshipped, but they can't take it back because I'm like, well, I'm not going to send it back. That's their mistake, not mine. So the one thing I will say is, so the only time he's worn it is when he's getting his picture taken around the holidays.
That's too much.
So my dog Lily, I've never bought clothes for her, but my wife bought a little bandana that she puts on her sometimes. She hasn't put it on her in a while. And then she did buy a sweater for her once, and I think she would always take it off on her own. So she's honestly she's tough. She don't like the actually, that's a little bit of a lie. She's tough in terms of the bark no bite kind of thing, but she loves the couch. She loves to snuggle. Even though she may not like the the sweaters or whatever, she's still a softie.
So Jennifer listens to this podcast, good friend of the show, also good friend of another show that John is on and I've been on in the past. Yes. She has a dog named Charlie, who I call Chuck. And
Shout out Chuck.
He's got a bandana. Maybe I'm saying too much. I don't think she's gonna care because she posts it on Twitter sometimes. But the bandana always makes me laugh because it says, cover your ears, kids. It says, bitches love me. It is so good.
Mitchell, you're not a fan?
No, we've gone off topic. The animals and clothes is too much. All of this is too much. I mean, it just feeds into what I said. Like, they lost all of their...
They did lose all their toughness, yeah.
The tenaciousness. It's like, I think the world is just a little bit softer than it used to be.
Mitchell, what's your message to all of the dogs, to all of the B listers and the C listers who just they've lost their edge? How would you hype them back up?
For a dog?
If there was a dog listening to this podcast, we can just
bite someone immediately. Bite someone, bite the next person that you see. Doesn't even matter who it is. Go up and bite them. Not like in the face, but just a nice bite. Doesn't have to hold on, but just get your edge back. You got to instill some fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to bite you, but I could. I don't think
draw a little blood, maybe.
Yeah, if you're feeling, it depends on what size dog you are. I think if you're a little dog, you got to be a little more particular about who you bite. But a big dog, oh yeah, just go in there, jaws clamp right on somebody's arm. That's what I think.
Today, speaking of dogs,
I'll let Drake just bite me just to get some viciousness.
Speaking of dogs, anytime I go to like the airport or a big convention center or any place and they have like those drug sniffing dogs, I get super paranoid. I've not done anything since college, but I'm always like, what if there's cocaine in my bag? What if somebody slipped crack into my computer bag? Like, I always have that fear. Does this not happen to anybody else but me?
Literally 0 times in my entire life has that happened to me.
Well, I'm glad that I'm the only one paranoid.
If this isn't really the exact same thing, but I'm always worried that if I get pulled over, I mean, I can hear the storms on their way. Oh, that probably didn't come through the microphone. It just threw me for a loop. The house just shook. But anyway,
that was.
I always have a fear that if I get pulled over, and I've been pulled over twice before, but anytime it's happened, or anytime I see a police officer behind me, I worry that they are going to treat me like I'm a criminal, even if I hadn't done anything. Like maybe I might have something, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's not happened either time, but it's just one of those things. Like maybe you catch them on the wrong day, and they're just gonna try to chew you out.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I've been pulled over a lot of times. Typically, if somebody pulls me over, if I see a police officer, I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing. So I deserve it. If they come up and stop me, I typically deserve it 100%. So,
and I'm not saying that I don't deserve to be pulled over. Both times, one time it was for turning red on a no turn on red. So as petty as that might be, I did do it.
Did you get a ticket?
I did. It was the very first time I got pulled over too. It was a few years ago.
You got a ticket the first time you got pulled over?
And it pissed me the hell off.
Can I?
Because I know people who've gotten pulled over numerous times and they've never gotten a ticket.
I've gotten pulled over 7 times and I've never gotten a ticket.
Well, there you go. There you freaking go.
I'll probably get one tomorrow when I'm driving in downtown Indianapolis.
I'm certainly not
pulled
going to
over 7 times.
Huh?
And never. And so, were you?
Well, I mean, you got to remember.
It,
I've been driving for 20 years, so 7 times is not a lot.
Oh, brag, old man.
Either way, though, like, were you able to talk your way out of it, or did you just get lucky 7 times? There was, like, forget it.
I think I'm incredibly handsome, and so no. One time, the very first time I got pulled over is probably there's a couple times I should have got a ticket. The very first time I was going like a 77 and a 55, but it was the very first time I got pulled over. Another time I was going like 65 and a 55. One time I got pulled over. This is a funny story. One time I got pulled over for driving too slow.
That's a very Dustin Shooty thing.
Yeah. Are you sure you've only been driving 20 years and not 200?
Correct. Well, I had been up for 36 straight hours broadcasting games, doing my job, writing, all this stuff. Like, I was exhausted. And a girl I was dating at the time was at Purdue, and she called me to come pick her up at like 3 a.m. I don't know what happened, but she called me to come. So I had been asleep for like 45 minutes, somehow woke up, went and picked her up, and I was going like 40 and a 55, and the cop pulled me over because he thought I got reported for drunk driving because I was driving so slow. But I was like to the point where everything was blurry. I hadn't had a drink. I hadn't had any. I hadn't even had like an Advil. I was just so tired that I couldn't function. So yeah, I got
pulled over. Did they make you go to a hotel?
No, he's like, because I was like 20 minutes from home at that point. He's like, just be careful the rest of the way. And it's like 3 a.m, so nobody's out. It's in Logansport or maybe Delphi, Indiana.
Ooh, Delphi. Yeah. Spooky.
There you go.
There you go, right? Trying to use my transition.
Oh, that was not even.
It wasn't even planned.
I hadn't said it yet tonight, but I've been very aware of trying not to say it.
That's association.
That is
transit
association. Property. I think we're going to go ahead and get wrap up, and not in terms of like we got one maybe 2 more things I'm going to hit, but I'm going to skip town names today. But I do want to go ahead and get into what I teased at the beginning of this, and that is our piece of mail, if you will, from a friend of the show, Indie Hater 1. So, Dustin, is there a story that goes along with this that you're able to kind of set it up with? If not, I can go off what you mentioned to me. But if there's some background, feel free to give it.
There's no story particular with this specific video / audio that you're about to listen to. But if you listen to, what was it, the last or maybe a couple podcasts ago where I had to do a rap battle, I talked about my friend. We went to Western Illinois. We met up with a friend in college, and we went to this specific bar that was doing a rap battle night. And if the winner got like $250, my friend was drunk enough that we were able to convince him to go up and be part of this, so that way we could drink for free all weekend. And instead of winning, he got knocked out in the first round. So, but his raps, like, those still stick with me. And so I asked him, like, I don't remember if I asked him on the show or on the podcast to come up with a new rap, or if I texted him, or I don't remember. But he did provide a new rap, and I think it's fantastic.
So with that being said, I guess without further ado, we'll let it roll. This is Indie Hater 1.
Ha ha! I'm back again. 14 years later. Ha ha!
This is a minute 40, by the way.
Gallery. I don't do this for a salary. I eat pieces of trash like you for brunch. You eat pieces of trash? Yeah. Then I spit you out, reheat you, and eat you for lunch. Stay out of my way. You're out of your lane. Rapping, I'm comfy like Mitch's legs swinging on a plane. Bet that was the hater named Craig. Dude is soft like an egg, limping home after I gave him a virtual broken leg. You're predictable like TV, how the world turns. You think people booing? They were yelling, "Boo Earns!" I'm gonna be honest, looked all over the place. Look up the word goofy, just saw your face. The rhymes are tiny, this game's been played. I'm a giant over here, come sit in my shade. I've skewered that fool, but there's something else I can't stand. Now I'll move on to Notre Dame fans. The linebacker bar's whack. You can't even pretend. The hype is as real as Teo's girlfriend. It's not Christmas time. Why you wearing red and green? You win one freaking game, then finish 6th in the ACC. You won't go to the playoffs, not even with 12 bids. Every year I'm popping champagne like Mercury Morris did. Come back anytime. You know it's been great. I'll always be here spreading Notre Dame hate.
I give him so much credit. Like, to sit down, write all that out, obvious, hilarious grudge against Notre Dame. I would love to hear the backstory on why he hates Notre Dame so much. But when are we going to get this guy on the podcast? And I want him to come on as a black screen. I don't want to see what he looks like. I just want to talk to him.
Maybe that might be a good idea because he was our very first caller. Maybe he should be our very first guest, and he can be a masked guest, as Mitchell says. Don't show his face.
I don't care if he wears like a balaclava. Like, I just don't want to see his face at all. And that means that is no disrespect to him. The way he exists in my mind is how I want him to stay. As this like Batman hero of sorts. That you don't know he's there, but you don't see him until you need him. Throw up the bat symbol, and he comes with a 1:40 rap that he wrote out, brought up music to, and sends to us and allows us to play on a podcast. This guy is a legitimate hero, and I want to talk to him so badly.
See, and by the way,
you said last week I have good friends. I told you I have the best friends.
The best.
I'm a little confused with the Halloween beat. It was still hilarious, but I'm curious like why he chose to go with the Halloween beat. But it was.
I feel like the rap went really well with it.
Yeah,
maybe that's
for those who couldn't actually. I was the only one who could see this. There was in the file that was sent to me. The picture was the background for the MP3 was just a still of Eminem, the rapper.
Which I can appreciate. Definitely done intentionally and very funny.
So yeah, Indie Hater 1. That may be you may be our first.
Even if it's just a 5-minute pop in.
Oh yeah, it'll be a quick little Q&A about where the name came from and
who are you.
I'm down for the. I really want to do the balaclava over the head too. It's a very. If you're familiar with M Shadows, give me the M Shadows look from Avenged Sevenfold. I would dig that.
Anything, any kind of mask, Halloween mask. Became as the Scream guy. That would be funny. Literally anything but Michael Myers. Michael Myers scares me. We're gonna get into that.
Maybe he'll come on as Michael Myers just for you. Then.
I was never really scared of storms like we were talking about before the show, but. Those kind of scary movies. I was not about that.
So, that brings up my last thing before we wrap this thing up. These storms coming in. Are either of you afraid of storms, tornadoes, that kind of thing? I'm not. I feel like I don't get freaked out by them the way that I used to at all. But back when I was a kid, I used to be terrified. I would obsessively watch the local news when severe weather would come through because I had to know where. The way that they obsessed over it was the way that I did. The very first job that I wanted to have when I was a kid was a meteorologist. Obviously, that didn't work out. I lost interest.
You're close.
That, but it was because I obsessed over the weather and stuff like that. And, thankfully you outgrow most of those kinds of things, but it's still a very common fear to have. I feel like being sucked up in a tornado or something like that, or having your house destroyed.
I want to get back to the thoughts, but this is going to come off way more judgmental than I mean it. But your first dream job was a meteorologist and not like a policeman or a professional basketball player?
And I mean, maybe but I was the very first time I had real thoughts of this is what I want to do. And I'm talking
when did this happen?
The middle of elementary school, I would say.
Yeah, dude, you were already the weather.
The weather.
I give you a lot of credit for that.
But
that's
it didn't
a very
work
mature.
Out, obviously.
I mean, it's just a mature third grader. I think I wanted to be the king of the United States when I was
The
in third
king of the
grade.
United States.
Mostly just king of the playground, I guess. But I was thinking
Still
so
works.
much smaller than you were. I give you a lot of credit.
Oh man, Dustin, you scared of the tornado-y weather?
No, I think I fit the typical Midwestern. I don't even have kids, but like the typical Midwestern dad, where I could just stand out on the porch and like, oh, tornado's coming in. Like it doesn't bother me.
It's not even green yet.
That's
Tornado,
kind of how
yeah.
I am now. Maybe not to the extent of the typical Midwesterner, but I like to kind of watch it as it's brewing.
I can sleep really well in storms, so that's just how it rolls for me. So I do not have a fear of storms.
I'm going to leave you guys with two stories. The first one is not really a story, more of a, I'll be curious, Dustin, if you've ever done this. Typically, when a storm is coming or it gets super windy or there's a tornado warning and you're on the golf course, you're supposed to leave.
Yep.
Anytime that happens, I'm like, ooh, perfect. I'm going to play so much faster because everyone left. I will play until it is hailing.
Yeah.
I've definitely played in lightning. I've played when it's really eerie and green out. But that leads me to when just the different way of thinking. We were in Germany when I was playing football, and we were playing the Kiel Baltic Hurricanes at Kiel. And that's like right on a big body of water. I don't know if it's a lake or what it is, but they get bad storms there. For whatever reason, there's a pressure vacuum or something. So they get really bad thunderstorms, but they stay over the lake. But the lake is only like 7 miles from the field that we're playing on. And we're in like the second quarter of the game, and this crazy lightning storm breaks out in this area. And it's 7 miles from us. And I'm like, guys, we need to go into cover. Even I was like, this is crazy. What are we doing out here? We played that entire game with that lightning going on. It never did come over, but there's some crazy pictures of lightning strikes as we're getting ready to run a play. So that's my little 2 cents, and definitely not scared of storms after that, because I was in one. I was just in a lightning storm with, I guess it was rubber cleats, but metal chains. Can you imagine the guy holding the yardage sticks, first down markers? Oh my gosh.
Petrified.
I didn't even think about that guy until just now. He was probably way scarier than I was, but that's it. Not the most interesting stories, but those are my 2 stories.
No, that's wild, and the dogs need to take notes, because that's how they can become men again, and strong women for that matter.
Yeah, go fight lightning. Bite the lightning. If you that,
There you
I'm going
go.
to change. Not a person. Go find the nearest lightning storm and bite it.
I like
That's
it.
right. Bite the lightning, and that'll do it. Subscribe on YouTube if you haven't. If you care at all, seriously, we're begging you. Subscribe on YouTube.
I don't care if you care
Follow-
or not. Tell your friends.
If you care at
Follow
all.
us on TikTok, Out of Touch Media. And if you found us on TikTok, thanks for joining us and listening to the whole thing if you bothered to do so. But that'll wrap it up for this week. Leave us a message on the hotline, 502-830-9195. Tell us how horrible we are at this. Tell us, you can even send us weird things like Indie Hater 1 did with the rap and that kind of stuff. So be creative if you'd like, or if not, just, send a regular message. And until next time, we will talk to you then. It's been Out of Touch.